What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/IDoWorkHereLady. Alright, this story's called, I am a legit crisis worker and I need to use your phone. It's not exactly that I do work here, but that I do legit have business doing this work here. This is long ago and far away in the late 1970s, when beepers were a thing, but cell phones were not, and long before police needed defunding. I mean, people would argue with that in certain places, but okay. I was a bit of a screw-up in high school. Not nearly as much as the school thought I was, but well, I was. But I graduated, and I went to college, and I consolidated my feces to a large degree. He got his crap together. I came back home and got a job doing counseling and crisis management for a county-wide youth agency. This agency was, among other things, the go-to agency when a police department got contact with a juvenile for something other than a real crime committed by the kid. Runaways, throwaways, family uproar, some limited drug crisis intervention, and so on. Cops get called, didn't want to deal with that crap, and they'd call us. And after hours or weekends, they'd call the answering service, and they would beep us and we'd call back. So I'm the on-call guy one evening, and my little sister was in a play at the high school from which I had graduated with dishonors 5 years earlier. My girlfriend and I went to see my sister's play, and during the show, my beeper went off. I got up and went to find a phone and went into the guidance office. Makes sense, right? To see if they could help me. I showed the person in the office my beeper and my agency ID, and so let me use the desk phone. Peachy. I call the answering service to get the word. But just as I connect, the main office door opened and vice principal, who always loved me so much, walked in. He looked at me and I looked at him, and he demanded I tell him what the hell I thought I was doing. Would not allow me to explain my job or my role, would not look at my agency ID, and basically, emphatically, ordered me to get the hell out of his damn guidance office. So I had to leave the school, leave the play, leave my girlfriend at the play, and go 2 or 3 miles down the road to my town's police department. They graciously let me in the back to use the phone to call the service, then call the other town's police department and deal with the situation. I don't even remember what the situation was, but it just needed a couple of phone calls to resolve. I didn't have to go to the other police station or anything like that. I got back to the play during intermission. Frickin' school. No wonder everybody hated it. Man, can you imagine having to deal with that bullcrap? Oh man, that's funny. Alright, this story's called, Dude is Rude and Belligerent Gets Arrested. So this happened just last week. Even so, my memory is kinda crappy, so this isn't verbatim. I'm not sure if this really counts as an I Do Work Here Lady story or not, but it's the most fitting place I could think of off the top of my head. My, 21 AFAB and what? I don't know what that means. Okay, quick little Googling shows that means assigned female at birth, non-binary. There we go. Okay. Dad owns and runs several car washes in and near the city I live in, and I regularly help him and my mom out with stuff, mostly with picking up and sweeping trash, dumping garbage, spraying down dirty self-serve bays, etc. I don't know a lot about fixing things, but they're currently learning to fix changers and stuff and plan on teaching me once they get the hang of it. The main thing that I help them with, though, is checking a few locations after I'm done with my regular job. My current job is with a security company, and I work nights until midnight most days, and until 4 a.m. one day of the week. So it's usually 30 or 40 minutes from the time I get off work, check car washes, and get home. This particular night, though, I stayed, I think, over an hour and a half. One night after work, I was doing the usual rounds. Nothing unusual or suspicious going on. I'm supposed to be extra cautious lately, mostly because over the past few months, car washes in and around our city have been getting broken into. My dad assumes it's because everyone is staying home so they can't rob houses anymore. I get to the last location I check on the way home and do the usual routine. Drive through the automatic brush bay to make sure no one is hiding and messing with the machine parts. Apparently it happened before and it scared the crap out of my dad. Apparently the guy was just trying to get out of the rain. I can see through the touch-free bay no problem, so no need to go through there. Drive drive past the vacuum islands and make sure all the timer screens in the self-serve bays are on and not busted in. There's no way to get any money from the 1x2-inch screen, but hey, people are dumb. As I drove through the brush bay, I saw a car backed in next to one of the back islands, but I didn't hear the vacuum running, and all of the car doors were shut. That was immediately a, albeit small, red flag. Along with the fact that there wasn't any license plate, another car was by one of the other islands, also inside the car, but with the car running and the headlights on. I kept going and checked the screens. All was good there. I decided to go and park up by the office, and from there, I could see the running car from my side view mirror. But shortly after, they sat in the self-serve bay for a minute or so before leaving. I can access the cameras from my phone, so I pulled up the single screen view to match the first car, and after a minute or two of no activity, I called my dad to let him know what was going on. He told me to go back to the vacuums and talk to the guy. I did so, backing into the space next to him on the opposite side of the island and put it back into drive, something my dad's told me to do in case I need to book it. The guy was in the front seat, but twisted around halfway to rummage around in the back. I put my window down and did a quiet honk, the kind to try and get someone's attention, but he didn't turn around, even after a couple of more times. I waited for a bit, and he finally turned around. I always try to be polite and give the benefit of the doubt, so I gave a small smile, waved, and motioned for him to roll down his window. He shouted, "What?" with his window still up, so I motioned again. He scoffed at me and shook his head. During this, I was giving my dad a play-by-play to let him know what was happening, as well as trying to keep him from falling back asleep. Eventually, he rolled down his window. "Hello, I noticed that you've been sitting here for a while, so I was just wondering if everything was alright." Throughout the entire conversation, he has an attitude and is passive-aggressive, leaning more and more towards straight-up aggressive. "I'm fine. What the hell do you want?" My dad on speaker, but my phone isn't loud enough for the guy to hear him. "Ask him if he's gonna vacuum." Do you plan on vacuuming tonight, or are you just decluttering?" "Yeah, I'm at a car wash by the frickin' vacuums, cause I'm not gonna vacuum. It ain't your business." Still trying to be polite. "Okay, I'm just trying to..." "Tell him he needs to vacuum or leave. He's dealt with enough crap that he just gets straight to it." I, unfortunately, am not as confident as him, especially when it's dark out, I'm by myself, and all I have to defend myself is pepper spray. By this point, the guy had already put his window back up and got out to move his stuff in the back seat. I could see now another person in the passenger seat, presumably his girlfriend. She was trying to say something, but I couldn't make out what she was saying between the window and my dad talking to me. I don't remember what about at this point. The guy kept making comments about how long I'd been hanging around for, and by this point, I was extremely uncomfortable and anxious, and all I could really say to him was something about not wanting to drive and use my phone at the same time. My dad definitely told me I can go back to the other side of the building, and from there, he told me to call the cops to get a no trespass on both of them. I'm already not a fan of police, but I've had to call them before for a similar, though much less anxiety-provoking situation. And there's no way my dad would let me not call them down there. There's not much dialogue from this point on, and I couldn't see what exactly was happening since I was trying to stay out of the way once the cops got there. But after a while, they put the guy in the back of one of the cars. An officer came over to tell me that they had a warrant for his arrest. The guy's car got towed, and shortly before I left, a police van arrived. I assumed to transport the guy. I don't know why they wouldn't just use one of the 3 cop cars that were there. Though, to be honest, I don't know a lot about police stuff. I was super anxious throughout the whole ordeal, but it did feel kinda nice knowing that because he wouldn't just be polite, it led to him getting arrested. That is nice. He was a jerk and he got locked up. Not for being I guess one could make that argument. This story's called I Don't Work for Them, I Work for Him. Okay, so, hi, Reddit community. This is my first post here, so please don't be too mean about this. But I was scrolling through YouTube and saw a few videos on this r/IDoWorkHereLady, and some memories jogged up in my mind. Anyways, here it goes. I'm an apprentice in carpentry, in my last year now, and having a ball. My boss is chill, and I'm on great terms with him. First name basis, private number, you name it. So, we were at this new building site. I was dressed in my brown work trousers, white shirts, and work shoes. You know, the ones with steel caps and that stuff. Now, this'll be explained later, but remember this detail. detail. So we were working there and moving some furniture around and building a few things. And laying on the floor like we carpenters usually do. Now, I never met the owners of this property, and from what I heard, they were very, very wealthy because they bought the building for around €1 million. Yes, I'm European. No, I won't convert it because I'm too lazy and have no clue about the exchange rates. I'm guessing just under 1.2 million. Anyway, back to the story. So my boss had to leave and help out our coworkers, so I was left alone doing the flooring, and once I finished, I took my lunch break, which I have to by law, and my boss told me I should do it whilst he's out. And oh boy, I bet y'all can imagine what happened. I went inside, sat on the sidewalk, got out my sandwich and a cigarette, and started to, well, take a break. The painters were still working since they apparently took their break an hour before I did. The owner was there before and saw the painters eating and taking their break, which is fine. Legally, we all have to do it. So it goes like this. This lady, let's call her Mrs. Murphy, came to look at the site again and saw me, walked over to me, and in a very unlikely manner, tried to get my attention by clearing her throat. I looked up and the conversation went as following. Hello miss, can I help you?
Yes, you can. You can stop sitting on your lazy butt and get back to work.
Mind you, I was 10 minutes in my break and still had 20 minutes to go. Sadly, yes, I'm very specific with my break times, and that's because I love getting my job done. Miss, I'm taking my break.
You took it an hour ago. I want to talk with your boss on how lazy you painters are.
It then finally clicked. She thought I was a painter. Mind you, I did have paint on my shirt and trousers from the day before because we were painting furniture. I am deeply sorry, miss, but I think you have me confused.
I certainly do not. You better get back to work or I will not be paying for your work.
Miss, I really don't.
Of course you do. Now call your boss. I'll be having a word with him.
She angrily said all that. I mean, sure, they were paying a big sum of money, and I was really tired from kneeling all day, but I took out my phone, dialed my boss, which we'll be calling Ken now. Hey, Ken, seems like I have a problem here, and you need to talk with someone.
Hey, Mooney, what's wrong? You go at work? Have you taken your break?
Yeah, everything is fine. Just finished laying the floor you told me to do, and I'm 10 minutes into my break. Just the owner, I think, thinks I'm a painter.
Just put on the phone with me.
It then finally clicked with the owner's head when I told my boss. She started to blush, but took my phone off of me and talked with my boss.
Hey Ken, I am so sorry. I thought your worker was slacking off since he's outside eating and not working.
What is this, German or French?
I thought he was a worker. Yes, it is not a problem. I know they have to take their legal breaks. No, it's all sorted.
She then looked at me and gave back my phone, apologized profusely, and offered me a cup of coffee as an apology, and me being me, didn't turn it down. I mean, free coffee, and also at the house instead of walking 10 minutes to a store to find a coffee shop. No way am I letting that go. She wasn't a Karen, nor was she exactly rude, just puzzled and confused. She was very polite afterwards, and we talked a bit, so no harm done. Though I did nearly get a panic attack and anxiety attack, but that's for another time with my health issues. That was cool. I'm glad that she apologized in the end. Now I'm thinking of Linkin Park. Alright, this story's called I'm Closing the Pool. I used to work as a lifeguard at a sports center, and I would often close. So I was going to the front desk to hand in the keys before leaving, and I was no longer wearing my uniform. I walked up and said, hey, I'm bringing back the keys, and went to fill in the form saying I signed them back in. The lady at the desk, who I have talked with a lot, asked me where I'd found them, and I replied, in the office, to which she questioned why I had been in the lifeguard office, and I said, I work there? And she apologized and asked if I was new. I said, nope, I've worked here for a year, and we both kinda awkwardly laughed, and I left. I closed at least 4 times a week. That's funny. Maybe you got a new haircut, or I don't know, maybe you were wearing a new cologne or perfume or something, and they could be someone that identifies people by their scent, and you threw them off. I mean, I identify people with scent. I don't even know how my parents look. I'm kidding. I mean, there's an actual thing, like an actual disorder thing, where people, they can see people's faces or whatever, but, like, it's not a pattern to them. Like, they don't recognize faces. They recognize people by how they walk or how they talk or something like that, that, but they don't recognize faces. It's crazy. Like, they'll see you have eyes or whatever, but like, it just doesn't register in their brain as like a face pattern, like it does for, you know, normal people. I guess most people. What even is normal when it comes to people? I mean, obviously it's subjective, but if an outside observer were to look at the human race, would normal be what we see, publicized and all that crap, or what I guess the majority of people live like, which I guess would be just like how we see normal? Because I'm pretty sure more people live in cities and stuff than anywhere else, right? I don't know. This is completely irrelevant.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.